And we are broadcasting live out here on the patio at Peter B's Brew Pub for Pub Talk, brought to you by the Monterey Regional Airport and American Airlines here on the Locals radio station for the Monterey Bay, KRML. I totally do it again.
That's all right. We'll get it one of these days.
We did get it. We were on a strong run there for a while. Yeah. Locals radio station for the Monterey Bay.
KRML.
Okay, there we go. That's going to set the precedence.
That's pretty much all I do at KRML now is I jump in and say KRML at appropriate times, and I think that's a pretty good gig.
Are you like the the hype guy?
Yeah, I'm basically your Flavor Flav. You're Chuck D, I'm Flavor Flav.
Dude, that one, let's get you a big clock. And I don't know if I can fill the shoes of Chuck D, but I'm going to do my best. We are broadcasting live out here on the patio at Peter B's Brew Pub. This is Pub Talk, brought to you by the Monterey Regional Airport and American Airlines. Every Wednesday we do this at 5 o'clock. The whole premise, you go to a good pub, you get into a conversation, you walk away with a new friend and some enlightenment and hopefully a couple good beers. We got some great beers on tap that Justin's been working on here. I encourage you to bring your growlers. It's half off. That's $8.
For 64 fluid ounces.
64 fluid ounces. And he's got a selection out here. I'm a big fan of the stout now with Acme Coffee.
Yes, that was, I had a couple of those last week.
Yes.
Yes, I had to walk.
They're delicious.
They are delicious, but they're not to be trifled with.
No,
they're serious.
You don't mess with them. But that's just one of many that he has on tap. We've got a great slate of guests lined up. We're going to be talking to some of the folks from Monterey Bay Community Power and AllTerra Solar. Like, you want green power, right?
Absolutely.
You want green energy.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. And if it saves you some money, that's even better. We're going to talk to them about some of the opportunities going on right now because there's a bit of a movement going on here at the Monterey Bay. We're going to be talking to Rich from Sunshine Freestyle, one of the surf shops in Monterey that has quite a legacy here, from everything from the surf about to much, much more. We're going to be talking to him about the legacy of Sunshine Freestyle. And right now, we are going to talk about a summer concert series at the Carmel Plaza. We've got Martha Torres with us. Thank you so much for coming on.
And Gayle.
Oh, and Gayle. Sorry. Welcome to Pub Talk. This is your first time here, right?
Yes, it is.
Well, welcome to Pub Talk. Glad that it finally happened. I know that we're really excited about the summer concert series going on. That kicks off this Friday. It's a great way to kick off the weekend. I checked the forecast before we got out here, and it's going to be beautiful. We're talking about 70s and 80s. We're talking about live music.
That's how we ordered it.
You did that?
Yeah.
You talked to the appropriate people, right?
Who do you put that order into?
Yeah.
Well, this is a fun thing. We were able to take part in it last year. It's really a fun time because there's something about Fridays. Let's just call it what it is. It's been a long week.
Exactly.
You get to knock off work. And the live music, being outside, there's wine, there's food. I mean, where else would you go?
Well, you've got to go to Krml Plaza for that.
There we go.
Absolutely. This is a custom event. It's a signature event. We've had it for 6 years, and it's very, very popular, especially among the locals. They bring out families sometimes with little kids, and people love to dance and really enjoy company, and it really is very communal. And especially now that we've finished our renovation, we've got lots of communal spaces with fire pits and built-in seating and furnishings and beautiful new landscaping that is very green. And we've done, I think, a great job of improving the plaza without taking away the charm at the same time.
Quite a project there with those renovations.
Yes.
And it looks fantastic. I've been there recently. It looks great.
Thank you. We've heard that a lot. We haven't had anybody tell us that they didn't like it, which is good.
That's a good start.
It's terrible. I'm out of here.
You spend millions of dollars and you hope for all the positive.
Well, I think you shoot for not terrible at the very least, but if you're a little bit more ambitious like you guys were, you're looking to create an ambience there where people are free not just to shop. I mean, that's the traditional sense of a shopping center, but this is much more of a walkabout, enjoy it, relax it. You can mosey in and out of a multitude of stores that you guys have there. I'm a big fan of Carmel Honey Company and the cheese shop.
Absolutely.
The cheese shop is trouble. It's trouble. I think that's the one thing that could keep me from ever being a vegetarian
It's the
or
best
vegan.
kind of trouble.
Oh, man.
There's new places opening.
Yes.
There's some big projects going on right now,
Yes,
too.
yes. Actually, our friends at Alvarado Street Brewery are opening Yeast of Eden. Whether you like the name or not, it's coming.
Yes, it is coming.
Yeast of Eden, and they're under construction right now in the end of the southern end of the courtyard on one half of that building. And the balance of that building will be expansion and renovation for Sur La Table, which is one of our tenants, one of our national tenants. And so they are relocating, expanding, and adding their culinary program. So we'll have cooking classes at Sur La Table.
Awesome.
People are very, very excited about this.
That sounds great.
Brand new store. So both of those tenants, Sur La Table and Yeast of Eden, should be opening fall. Soon.
I was
Soon.
talking to JC a little bit about it, and he's super excited about this. And for folks that don't know, the Yeast of Eden came from their bottling series that they've been doing from the Salinas complex. They've been brewing these special beers, bottling them. They're ageable beers. But this is going to be even more ambitious than that. It'll feature some of the beers that they brew, but it's also going to be a restaurant. This is going to be really cool and fitting for Carmel, because if you go to the Alvarado Street location, fits there. You go to the Salinas one, it fits there. This is going to be a different animal, but it's going to be very fitting for Carmel and Carmel Plaza.
Exactly. And you know, John and JC Hill are phenomenal people to work with. And just about a year ago, a little over a year ago, is when we made contact with them to say, what if? Could we do this? And it's just been a pleasure to work with them, and we're very excited about this new venture for them. You know, they're local to Carmel. And
huge bonus.
It is a huge bonus. So that's all very exciting, and they're actually going to participate in the Summer Live series with beer.
Of course,
of course.
Because
so
what
I
else
think
would
they're
they do?
up on the 27th, I believe, of July.
And I'll say this too, because I want to talk more about the concert series. We need to, but I do love the fact that Yeast of Eden coming in like this. We've seen a bit of a beer movement start to gain some momentum around here. And it's kind of been devoid in Carmel. You know, you can get a beer, but there's not breweries, there's not tap houses, there's not things along those lines. This is going to be something that really is featured local beers. It's going to be beer-centric with some killer food, too.
Absolutely. I mean, that was the one missing element was, well, they couldn't have a beer tasting room in Carmel. That would not have really taken wings. But to actually do the restaurant and the brew house as a custom feature is happening. So we were thrilled when the planning commissioners got behind it and the community got behind it. It's a real celebration.
It is.
When I go to chamber meetings and stuff up there,
Absolutely.
I'll walk by it and I see the slow development starting to happen. Like, it went from slow development to quickly picking up now.
It is.
And they have the pictures posted of what we can expect the interior to look like, and everything looks really cool. Very excited about it.
And actually, that, you know, I'm told that some of the images, well, it is, the design is going to be very much what you see there, but the menu is actually going to be elevated from what they used as inspiration that you can see that's posted there. So we're excited to hear what those menu items are going to be.
I can't wait. I love the food over at Alvarado Street, so I'm sure it's just going to be bang up as well.
Absolutely.
We started talking about the concert series.
Yeah.
It kicks off this Friday,
This
2 days
Friday,
away,
yes,
5
yes,
o'clock.
yes.
This is a really fun thing. We've got the Money Band, which is always a local hit here. They'll be kicking off the series, but this series is going to run through the summer.
It is for 8 consecutive Fridays. The Money Band actually will close the series as well. They're that
the bookends.
popular. They are the bookends.
Yeah.
The anchors.
Yeah, the anchors. There we go.
But they are wildly popular in this area, and we love them. We love to dance to them.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, hey, for people on Facebook or listening, gonna get to see you guys dance on Friday. You just threw that out there. You can't back off now. You just threw it out there.
Alrighty
Might
then.
be holding you to that.
All right. It could be a bet. It could be a bet.
And some other great bands coming too. Extra Large is a band. My folks are like stoked on Extra Large.
Yeah.
They're going to be out there.
Yeah.
For sure.
So the Chicano All-Stars, Everyday People, Wild Card, Red Beans and Rice, which is a lot of fun. The Joy Bonner Band, and of course, you know, ending with the Money Band. So we've got a lot of great restaurants that are participating with their food tastings. We're opening it with Holman tasting room for the wine.
Which
and then,
we love working with them. They're on the Save 30 store for people that are listening at krml.com. You can do the winemakers tour, the barrel tasting. It's really cool stuff. And if people have been to the tasting room, that's amazing. And then the winery itself is one of the most beautiful properties out there in Carmel Valley. So love Holman. Love Holman. That's exciting.
Fantastic. It's fantastic. So in any case, Patisserie Boissier is our restaurant for the first lineup. And we've got multiple other restaurants from throughout the community, and you know, some of our tenants are of course participating: Han Winery, Blair Winery, and Wrath. Excuse me, where I blanked for a second.
All solid choices.
Yeah, so you know, that's one of the other things. When you come to Carmel Plaza, you can go wine tasting and soon also beer tasting. So we'll get you covered.
You're doing a good job of that.
Thank you.
And I love too. We touched on earlier. These are local. You're not bringing in the Kendall Jacksons and whatnot. These are local wineries. So folks can go there. You go in there, and there's a chance you might run into the winemaker. You might run into the vintner, and that's, to me, that's what makes this place special with the wine scene, is that it is so local centric, and people that are involved with these are so involved with them.
Well, and one of the things that we did differently this year than we've done in the past is that we partnered with Kim from the Monterey
County Vintners and Growers Association.
Yes, I hear her on the program all the time.
Every Thursday, after 4 o'clock. Oh, yeah.
We know
Kim's
her,
a big fan. We're a big fan of Kim.
So she helped coordinate with our wineries this year, which I think was a great partnership.
It's going to be exciting. So wine, how about the food?
So we've got, let's see here. Oh, no. Il Fornaio.
Not going to go wrong with that.
No. They do a great job. 400 Degrees Gourmet Burgers and Fries, one of our merchants as well.
Love
they
that
have
spot.
great burgers. Fifi's Bistro is teamed up with Wrath. And then Allegra Restaurant is teamed up with, that is Blair. With Blair and also Yeast of Eden.
All right.
So
a little beer on that one as well.
Yeah. Let's see. And I can't forget Grazing's, one of my favorite spots. So hi, Kurt. The Village Corner, and then I can't pronounce this, Martha. Abba.
Oh, that
Indian
place. Great.
cuisine.
I love that place.
So
I have multiple
a
locations
little
now.
variety, a lot of variety.
That's great.
This time.
Well, more incentive to come check out every one of
every week.
Yes, exactly.
Every week we will be there for you.
Well, if people want to find out more about the concert series, about the wineries, about the restaurants involved, what's the best way to do that?
Probably on our website would be the easiest place to get the details.
And it's a pretty easy website. It's just carmelplaza.com.
Yes.
I love when it's easy. Like, there's no backslashes. There's none of that business. Just carmelplaza.com. You can find the full lineup. You can see all the bands playing, which we mentioned some of them that are local favorites, like Wild Card, like the Money Band. This is exciting. I love that it's finally kicking off. To me, it's also a signal that we're in summer.
We are, finally.
Yes.
Finally.
Yes.
Our summer lasts a while, though. That's what's great about living here. It's like it's going to go all the way through October.
Exactly.
I think last Christmas was like 68 degrees when we went outside.
I think so. Well, I think we had 80 degrees in January.
Yes.
Go figure. Yeah, that's California life, though. We like it.
Chamber of Commerce Day.
Yes.
All right.
We're really excited about this. Looking forward to Friday kicking things off. Looking forward to this whole summer with the concert series, and really excited about you coming on. So, first time on Pub Talk. Let's not make it the last. Let's get you on again here soon.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're broadcasting live out here on the patio at Peter B's Brew Pub. This is Pub Talk, brought to you by the Monterey Regional Airport and American Airlines here on the Locals radio station for
KRML.
the Monterey Bay. I left that part. I was trying to kind of toss you up here.
What?
We are out here, and we've got a lot more to talk about. We're going to talk about clean energy with AllTerra Solar and the Monterey Bay Community Power. How can you harness it? It's actually a lot more easy than you think. We're also going to be talking to Rich from Sunshine Freestyle about the legacy of that great surf shop here in Monterey. That'll be next after a few words from some of the folks who bring you Pub Talk, brought to you by the Monterey Regional Airport and American Airlines on the Locals radio station for the Monterey Bay.
KRML.
And we are back here live on the patio of Peter B's Brew Pub for Pub Talk, brought to you by the Monterey Regional Airport and American Airlines here on the Locals radio station for the Monterey Bay.
Carmel.
We're better.
All right, that was
We're
good.
Getting better.
That was good.
We should be much better. That's okay. We'll take it. We are out here broadcasting live. I'd love for you to come on out here. Fire pits are going. They've got happy hour going on as well, and it is growler night, which means half off. $8 for
64 fluid ounces of beer. I was going to say, this is the last overcast day we're expecting for the next 6 or 7 days.
It is.
So I'm kind of going to enjoy wearing sleeves for a little bit.
You like sleeves?
I like layers, man. This is perfect. This is perfect Monterey County weather to me. This is it. This is it. Like
very temperate.
A little bit warmer, maybe. I'd be cool, but 60, 65 at the top. Like I'm perfect there.
So like 80 degrees too much?
Too much.
Yeah.
Too much. Anything that's going to make me sweat walking a block. I'm just like, nah, maybe that's a me thing. Maybe that's something I need to work on.
And I'm from the South, so I kind of I yearn for that a little bit. I don't totally miss the humidity, but, I'm used to it.
Yeah, the humidity's not my... I remember the first time I went to Florida, I stepped off the plane in Miami, and it was like... Oh, what is this?
I can't. One of the most defined memories I have, and not just one, just thousands of them, is that feeling during the summer when you open up the door and you're in AC, which we don't need out here,
and that warm,
and you
moist,
feel it like pour into the house. It's the most amazing feeling. And when I moved out here, I was like, where's the AC? They're like, you don't need it. I'm like, what? You don't need it? Like, and now I get it.
Yeah.
We are here broadcasting at Peter B's. I'd love for you to come down and join us. We're also broadcasting live on Facebook Live, Krml 102.1 FM. We've got Rich Wenzlik from Sunshine Freestyle joining us now. Rich, welcome to Pub Talk.
No, thank you very much.
Let's get you on that mic there. We got a lot to talk about because Sunshine Freestyle has been an institution here on the surf scene of the Monterey Bay for a long time. And you recently dropped some big news that pretty soon that's going to change. You'll be closing the doors for Sunshine Freestyle, and the reaction, I'm sure, for you has been overwhelming. How many people have chimed in and shared thoughts and memories and all of that. Let's just talk a little bit about that, because the doors might be closing, but the legacy of Sunshine Freestyle is one that's going to live on for a long time.
I believe absolutely right. Yeah, we've spent a lot of time bringing the community to where it wants to be as a family, and it's been a kind of a heartbreaking thing to actually have to open our mouth and say that it's not going to carry on and carry forward.
I can't imagine how difficult that's got to be. Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine the struggles that have gone on behind closed doors that none of us will ever be privy to, because when you're in an industry that you're passionate about, it is a labor of love. And you and I have shared similar stories about the surf industry. One of my best friends who owned a surf shop that sold it recently it's changed. The whole landscape of retail in general has changed. I feel like there are certain pressures that are even more so on the surf industry that have changed. Personally, I think one of the hardest I don't want to say hardest. One of the hardest things for me to swallow is that for me, when I was learning to surf, when I was getting into that, there was such an invaluable thing about going to the surf shop. It wasn't just about picking up a bar of wax. It wasn't just about admiring this board that you were saving up. Back in the days where you'd get it on layaway and you'd see it and it'd be like, for Jeff. And you're like, every time you go in there and put a down payment and then mark it down, and you're like, oh, I can't wait to get that board. But it was in there. It was talking what bars are breaking, what's been going off, what about this? It was sharing the stories of the old timers. Surf shops were communities. And it was a place that you really got to go and kind of grow up in the surf culture. And these external pressures that are going on now through economics of the internet. One of the things that I mentioned was when the big dogs, the Quicksilvers and the Billabongs, started selling their stuff in Dillard's and Michael's and all those department stores. They kind of cut the throat of the people that had built them up. I understand the economics of it. I still can't agree with it. But you've witnessed that firsthand, I'm sure, and I'm sure you've got more strong opinions than I do.
Oh yeah, it's changed the landscape completely of what a small retailer can offer to try to even stay competitive within the market. And as the corporations decide to go big and open their own businesses in the malls and their own outlets, the market share that we can carry through just because of the small amount of purchasing power that we have it dwindles, and we don't have that buying power just to even stay relevant within the industry. And it makes it more and more difficult every single day.
Well, and for people that don't know the economics of a surf shop, you think surf shop, you think surfboards. Great. You got to get your surfboards, you got to get your wetsuits. The margin on those is pretty small.
Nominal.
Yeah. I mean, you have to have them to be a legitimate surf shop. But where you're able to actually sustain yourself is the soft goods.
Yeah, because you come in to watch that price of the surfboard go down, and that's the froth
that
kids have. And that's what we are so excited that we've watched over the years. You see kids grow up doing that, and now they've had kids, and their kids are coming into the same store doing the same thing, and those parents are going, I used to do that when I was here, when I was his age, and watching that whole thing evolve. That's the heartbreaker of all of it. But the margins aren't there for a surfboard. It's a lost leader. It brings them into the store. It brings them into touch, feel, and whatnot. But the margins are in our clothing and our logo wear and the things that, they don't buy a whole lot of. But that's not what brings them there.
Yeah.
So, I think, sadly, one of the things that the convenience of e-commerce obviously changes everything. It totally changes the playing field. But consumables will always be the number one thing that will never, that's always going to kind of just hang around, whether it be restaurants or surf wax. It's like a perfect example of something that's consumable you need right now, unless you're going to order a case.
Which, by the way, I saw you post that, and I want one. I want one. I think
We've been talking about
I think I was the first to like that on Facebook. I was I need that. I need some wax.
Yeah.
I was the first to reply to it. I saw that. Good for you.
It's a strange conundrum to be in, because it's like we either have to evolve to feature mostly all consumable products, or we can't hang around in this market anymore. But a lot of the times you'd have to sell so many of those consumable products that it just outweighs the value of being open, you know? And that's kind of the weird balancing act that I'm sure you've had to deal with the whole time with everything.
And what really bothers me more even so is the small service part of it, is the kid that comes in the store with a broken bolt on his skateboard, or the bearings that are frozen up, and we tear it apart on the bench and put it back together and send him on his way, and we've always done that for free.
Yeah.
And Amazon won't do that.
No, they're not going to drone drop that to your house.
No, that will not happen.
They're not going to make recommendations on what bearings based on your style. Or,
I think that you're touching on something that's actually very much a reality, because when you work at a surf shop, and I used to work in one, you can pick up from folks that come in, okay, where you're at, what you're looking for. You'll get a kid that's like super stoked on like a K board, and they're like, I want this, and then you talk to them and you realize, you've been surfing for 3 months, kid. You don't need a potato chip. Let's get you on this. Let's get you, and being able to educate them in a way that's not condescending, because that's also been an issue in some surf shops, But when you can really welcome them and educate them, but more importantly, get them on a board that they're going to be able to excel at. That's the difference, because if they buy that board that they think is really cool that they saw on the surf magazine,
keep them in the sport.
No, it's not. They're going to get out there and they're going to get frustrated. And then what are they going to do? It's a lot to do with being that trusted voice and knowing them, And
we've always used the idea that we play with the toys we sell.
Yeah.
And, whoever has the most fun wins. And usually that entails catching waves translates to fun.
Yeah.
And if you're not catching waves because you bought a little tiny potato chip board, you're not having much fun.
No, it stinks. You're watching your buddies get the wave counts up, and you're here paddling, and getting nothing.
Right.
And that, again, it goes back to that community aspect of really taking the time to establish relationships with your customers and hear where they're at, hear what they might think they want, and maybe they still want it, but it's not what they need. We're losing something, and for me, I look at it, and this is probably indicative of it being just an issue across the board in retail. But some of the other things that I'm really into are music. Well, I look at Krml. I've said this before. You can vouch for this. Krml would not exist without record stores. For me, I would, because I would have not got as deep and steeped into music had I not been able to go dive into record stores for 6 hours at a time.
Oh man, that's like one of my favorite memories, is going to a place and being like, "Oh, you like that? You're gonna love this.
Check
Come
this
here."
out." And then you're like, "Oh, you like this?" And then you find a new friend, and then you're going to a show. You get turned on a new artist. You walk out with a stack of CDs or vinyl like this, and they're disappearing. Fortunately, we still have a few here. We're really lucky for having the community that we have, that we still have a few record stores, music stores. I used to remember going in and there'd be picking parties at the back, and you'd get in there and you watch some of these old men that would get on there and just rip, and they'd be like, hey, grab that and come on, join. And
even at the time, some of the bigger box places like Warehouse or Tower or whatever, even like they were still
Tower set the blueprint.
Yeah, you can still go in and like you have your own little listening party, put on a pair of headphones and go to each station and listen through records. It's just like, it's the same idea though of having a surf shop where you can come in and be like, okay, this is my style, and this is where I like to, and somebody being able to say, okay, based on that and my experience, here's my suggestion.
Yeah.
That real connection, like, oh, I surf that spot all the time, and the waves break this way, and
hey, don't go there at low tide. That's more of a high tide break. Oh, it's a south swell that's going to turn on. Oh, that's not going to show any. It's all those things.
There's nowhere online. I mean, you can go and aggregate all this stuff, but there's no like one stop spot to go and be like, hey, I just love this place because I got a miniature community here now.
Yeah,
these are like all my people, and I want to talk to them all the time because they know what's up with my like everything that I love and my entire style. Like that's one thing that's, talk about legacy. That's the biggest part of that legacy, I think, is that all those memories that are attached to that, and all the, like I said, generational memories that are attached to that, because the next generation is going to pass that information down. And
where's it coming from?
Yeah,
where's it coming from? And I know just from some of the discussions I've got in with some people since you made that big announcement, people are like, gosh, I have so many memories of the surf about. I have so many memories of that. And the other one, so many of my friends that have had kids that have done the wetsuit exchange program that you've done. That's a pretty unique thing that not many surf shops do. And you can elaborate a little bit more on that, because I'm sure you've seen a ton of kids grow up on your wetsuits with that.
Oh yeah, no. The junior wetsuit program was, if you bought it new from me, size 1 through size 16, so basically from toddler to age 16, you bring it back to me when they grow out of it. I pay you 50% of what you paid for it, and you move it into the next suit as they grow up. And then I absorb the debt from that one. I turn around and usually put it in rental or just throw it on the rack and try to sell it to make my money back on what I lost on the turnaround. But they're just in a new suit. Yeah, the initial investment was there, but the family doesn't have these wetsuits sitting in their garage, which does nobody any good.
Yeah.
It's just old rubber.
I probably have a dozen wetsuits that I'll probably never wear again, that I'm just like, what do I do with
and I certainly can't fit into them, so
yeah, there might be a couple I can squeeze you into.
It might take 4 people to get me into them.
The zipper's going to be the challenge.
Yeah,
Flyers.
And it was an investment that we knew that we were going to kind of take a beating on. And a lot of the suits came back 5 years later because they'd gone through 4 kids.
Yeah,
just cycled down from older brother to younger down, and I got this piece of Swiss cheese back.
Yeah,
and I got to honor it.
Yeah,
so I'd take it and I'd have to throw it away. But the fact was that you gentleman's handshake kind of deal that we've always created, and we do it.
Yeah.
And it's been a wonderful thing, and that's something that I've seen in the past couple weeks, ever since I dropped the bomb that we were closing. A lot of the families have, what are we going to do? They still have a 10-year-old or something.
Yeah.
And like, oh, my God.
And it's a sad thing. It's like, that's a good question. Mm-hmm. And it also leads to, okay, let's talk what is going to happen. When is going to be the final day? What do you envision your legacy being? And what are you going to do now?
I had a list of things that I was thinking of doing for my third career, but when I finally pulled the trigger and Robert and I made the decision to close the place, all those became kind of unimportant to me, because now I had to come up with the perfect plan to close this institution down after 42 years. And we decided on July 31st being our last day of business, make as much as we can out of it to pay the bills that we have down, and try to get out of it with our sanity intact. And
always a challenge.
Yeah, always a challenge.
Even if you're staying in business, that's a challenge.
42 years, though.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's crazy.
You can't even put that in perspective, that's longer than I've been around.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's something special. Like you said, we talk about legacy. We throw that around a lot, and that's a real legacy there. That's a lot. It's a lot.
Tears a lot of people's hearts up.
Yeah, it should. So for the next month, what's happening at Sunshine Freestyle?
Condensing all of the
yeah,
that's condensation. Okay, that didn't work. I'm condensing the business kind of more towards the front door, trying to keep it looking as full as we possibly can and as skeletal as little as I can on that.
Yeah,
make good with what we've got in the store. We're going to do a couple special buys. We've got a special buy for all the T-shirt logos that we have. If you have an idea or desire and something that you don't have, that you want to carry forward because it's not going to be done anymore, come in, let us know. We'll order it for you special. I don't care if you want a certain logo and a pink T-shirt, I'll make it. You'll have the only one. Go for it. Just come in and do it.
And you got a month to do it. This is a way for you to hold on and keep that legacy going, because while the physical store might not be there, I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of stories told for a long time about Sunshine Freestyle.
Yeah.
You don't do something for 42 years and not make an impression that lasts for a very long time.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll be able to do something for the community on the backside, some sort of a beast of a bonfire on the beach or something.
Like it.
Yeah.
We'll
maybe maybe we've been actually chatting about continuing the surf about somehow.
All right.
So that's in the works.
Well, I'm going to trust that you're going to keep us in the loop on all those things.
Absolutely.
We'll help get the word out. Definitely sad news. We'll do our best to celebrate the legacy rather than to mourn the end of the physical space. But kudos on carrying the flag, and please do keep us in the loop, because let's honor this as much as we possibly can. Got a month to celebrate it. Let's do that.
I appreciate it.
Rich, thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Absolutely.
Sunshine Freestyle right there on Lighthouse. Can't miss it. Be sure to stop in, share some of your stories with Rich. I'm sure you'd love to hear some of those stories that people have. And check it out, because there's going to be a special run on several things, be it wax, T-shirts, sweatshirts, all of that. Last chance. You got a little bit more than 30 days to make it happen. Rich, thanks again for coming on.
You bet. Free hugs for everybody.
There we go. That's always a good thing. We're broadcasting live out here on the patio at Peter B's Brew Pub. Steb is actually giving hugs out right now as we speak.
I always give out hugs.
He's
That's
a
just
hugger.
my thing. I'm a hugger.
He is a hugger.
I'm a very
You're an affectionate man.
affectionate human. Yeah.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. We're going to talk about clean energy and how easy it is. We're going to have folks from the Monterey Bay Community Power and AllTerra Solar on here with just a few moments. Come on down. We're broadcasting live out on the patio at Peter B's Brew Pub. This is Pub Talk, brought to you by the Monterey Regional Airport and American Airlines on the Locals radio station for the Monterey Bay.
KRML.
Still one of my favorite songs on the station.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That was a great album. Like, I think of the albums that have come out so far this year, that is definitely in my top 5.
I agree.
I really enjoy the whole record from start to finish. And there's songs in there that aren't my favorite, but the record as a whole is really good.
There's a flow to that album that I just love. It might be my top album right now. I will say the new Florence and the Machine is up there for me, too.
Yeah. I haven't really dug in yet.
Dig.
Too much that.
Dig, son, dig.
There's so much good music out this year. It's crazy how much music is out.
And we're only halfway through.
I know. That's like, I'm behind, like, I'm 20 albums behind right now.
And you're probably 40 albums ahead of me. Like, that's what's crazy. And like, I'm probably 50 albums ahead of the general public.
Yeah.
Like, but there's that much music that's out there.
This year's crazy. This year is, anytime someone's like, music is not, it's just not what it used to be. I'm like, no, it's not. It's actually the pace that it's coming in at us. It's greater than any other time. So
yeah, you can't compare this.
If you're very specific to a style that you like, it's there for you. I guarantee you, it's there for you. You just got to do a little digging.
Or listen to Carmel because we like to play a lot of the new stuff.
We are pretty diverse.
We are Carmel. We're the locals radio station for the Monterey Bay. It's redundant, but
Carmel.
Yeah, we're broadcasting live out here on the patio at Peter B's Brew Pub. This is Pub Talk. It's brought to you by the Monterey Regional Airport and American Airlines. I encourage you to come down here, come thirsty, grab a frosty pint of some locally crafted brew, meet your neighbors that are doing some great things. That's what Pub Talk is all about. Bring your growler, too, because it's half off for
64 fluid ounces
of
delicious beer.
Delicious beer. Yes, that's what you put in growlers. That's what you put in growlers. We've got some old friends coming back on with us. We've got David Stearns from AllTerra. We've got Shelly from Monterey Bay Community Power joining us. Guys, welcome back to Pub Talk.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having us.
It's great to be here.
Oh, our pleasure by all means. Okay, Monterey Bay Community Power. That's this term that people see and they're like, what does that mean? They've heard us talk about it here on KRML. Perhaps they've got some of the mailers in their mailbox. Shelly, tell us what this is because this is a really big initiative.
Absolutely. So Monterey Bay Community Power is a community choice energy model. And what that means is that we're the local legal alternative to an investor-owned utility, in our case, PG&E. And we have the 3 pillars that really drive what we do: local control, clean energy, and economic vitality. And that's all for our Tri-County area. Local control and local choice is important. We've never had a choice before. Now we do. And we have a choice for clean energy. That means carbon-free and renewable electricity with 0 CO2 emissions. Economic vitality has multiple layers to it. We're giving a 3% rebate on Monterey Bay Community Power's electricity generation charges. So you get a savings with us, always. That savings is expected to be 5% in 2020, and we'll see where we can go from there. The economic vitality part of this, it also includes local generation of renewable electricity. So in our first year, we're a little conservative, but we do have a request for offers for 20 megawatt hours in small local projects for solar or wind, whatever that looks like, for renewable local electricity. That means local jobs. A third component of economic vitality is programs. So local programs, we're going to have 2% of our revenue going towards local programs to further reduce greenhouse gas emissions. That can look like incentivizing electric vehicles through rebates. It can look like incentivizing storage for those who already have solar on their rooftops. The sky's the limit.
I feel like you covered so much there.
We're going to have to break it down a little bit.
You're right.
Yeah.
I feel like because there's so many facets of what you just hit was securing green power, getting it to the people, encouraging it to develop. And I feel like there's probably about 18 other points.
There's probably an education arm in there, too, somewhere that I missed.
Yeah,
the educational part of it as well, because people have to know what's going on here. And I think that's a huge component of it, is that, aside from, like, the clean air fair we've been talking about on KRML, but how on the consumer level, on the person that's using the power, how does this all translate? Like how do we create? Where is the choice? Where is it? Like what do we do? What do we have to do? I need to know what to do.
So all of our non-residential customers are already online. It started March 1st. Residential launches July 1st, this Sunday. And so what residents can expect is a 3% savings, and they don't have to do anything for this. It's an automatic change for them. So it's nice and easy.
All right.
They'll get the 3% savings in the form of a rebate on their December bill every year. And they'll still receive their investor-owned utility bill, and we're just a line item on there. So they won't get two bills, one from NBCP, one from PG&E. It will all stay with PG&E. So we do work in combination with PG&E. We generate clean electricity, and PG&E will continue to deliver it and maintain their lines and bill and provide customer service. So they get to focus on safely delivering power, and we get to focus on purchasing clean power at a savings at a local level.
So you kind of touched on this, the clean power. How are you going about getting that and getting it to the folks that are interested?
So our main focus is carbon-free. Everything has to be carbon-free that we purchase, and in simple terms, it's solar, wind, and hydro. And we purchase that from the Western grid. We purchase it wholesale, just like PG&E does, but we have more specific parameters of it needs to be renewable, it needs to be in the least carbon-free.
And so it comes from the western edge? Is what
Western grid.
Western grid. So what's the range there? Because that's a big, broad term. Are these solar farms? Are these residential? Are these dams? Like, tell us a little bit about that, because I'm sure people are like, there's a lot of green energy that I feel like is unharnessed and not being put back in. But that's kind of where you guys you're looking for these sources and plugging it in, right? Right,
and that's where the abundance of renewable and carbon-free electricity that's out there right now has allowed us to purchase at low prices, and that's where the savings really come in. A lot of people ask, like, how can you compete with PG&E purchasing wholesale? They have maybe 20-year contracts that they're stuck in with really high, expensive, carbon-free electricity, and we're able to come in and purchase this really low cost. It's abundant right now. It tends to be in California, Oregon, Washington, a little bit even in Canada.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
state's progressive about where they source their power.
Yes, how about that? So that leads me to my next question. This guy over here, David from AllTerra. We've talked a lot.
High five.
Yes, teammates. We've talked a lot.
Facebook Live saw that high five.
Facebook Live saw it. You can hear it. You can see it. You got options.
We know it happened because we saw it happen.
Yes, it really did happen. If it didn't happen on Facebook, it didn't. We've talked a lot about just the idea of how can we make green energy, sustainable energy, more affordable, more available. And to me, we're talking about this, and it's like, oh, here's where that partnership comes from, of how you can get in and work together for this same goal.
Yeah, and so we get a lot of questions about this because everybody's getting things in the mail and they're hearing it on the radio. And I think for the typical household, your rates are going to be essentially the same. You're going to get a little bit off, which is great. It's all the things that she just said. So the same economic calculation that you did with PG&E, why you need to go solar, still applies with Monterey Bay Community Power. It's still going to save you a ton of money, and they actually have a better program for getting money back from the utility, which was PG&E, now it's Monterey Bay Community Power. So for everybody that has solar, they're going to benefit, and for everybody that's thinking about solar, it's a great thing to be opting into. So while they are getting a lot of power, all their power is going to be carbon free, coming from hydro, wind, and solar. It's still going to make a ton of sense to have solar on your house or your business in this area.
Well, and that leads me to my next question. Let's say two ideas here. Let's say you either already have solar from AllTerra Solar, of course, or say you're thinking about getting solar units from AllTerra Solar. If we're looking at Monterey Bay Community Power, how does that affect either one? Like, how would that affect your decision? If you've already got it, how are you thinking? Like, I want in on this. I want to plug in. Or if you haven't already, how does it still relate?
For the people that already have it, you really have to look at what you're sending to the grid, what your NEM agreement is, which is net energy metering. It's kind of the buying and selling of the renewable energy that goes back to the grid, and then you buying it at night and in the wintertime. So, really simply, we can kind of determine whether or not you're going to be benefiting from this, or it's just going to be the status quo. So, but the reality is that there is going to be a benefit to being in Monterey Bay Community Power if you have solar. So it's a we have to do a quick little analysis for somebody that's if they're not producing more than they're consuming currently with PG&E, then they might not apply to them. But if they actually have more than they need, then it's going to be a benefit.
So for you're working the Western grid, which is a big, broad term. How are you looking at partners like AllTerra that are looking to give people green, sustainable, carbon-free options? I imagine there's quite a coordination effort here with that, isn't there?
We very much support local solar, getting solar on your rooftops, and if you're a generator of electricity, meaning you're generating more than you're using, then Monterey Bay Community Power is paying more than double what PG&E has been paying. It's a net surplus compensation rate, and PG&E pays wholesale. It's somewhere around 0.027 cents a kilowatt hour, and we're paying over 6. So it'll be a big boost for those who already have solar. The other component of this is solar storage. That's kind of the 2.0 of this. If you already have solar on your rooftops, we in the future want to incentivize putting storage, like a battery, on your household. You're generating all day and not at night. You come home at night and want to turn all your stuff on. That battery component will allow you to use that electricity that you've generated during the day.
And that's something that someone like AllTerra Solar going to be like, all right, no problem, we got you covered. Let's work on that together, because I know the goal here is similar, and you Monterey Bay Community Power, if not the same. It's let's make this. Let's really put a dent in carbon here. Let's really make an advantage of this. And for you guys, it's readily available. Let us show you how we can do that.
Absolutely, yeah. And on the storage front, I mean, that's sort of the missing link with worldwide adoption of renewable energy. We have these times when the renewable energy is not generating enough, and you need to flip on a natural gas plant to or whatever to cover it. And so storage, if Monterey Bay Community Power through their community programs and the revenue that would otherwise be going to shareholders with PG&E and the other IOUs, that money is coming back into the community in the form of programs like incentives for batteries at your house or at your business that AllTerra Solar can install for you. So it's and that's where the local control aspect. It is a very nice symbiotic relationship, and we're the more that they can incentivize people to adopt solar or invest in solar projects locally or in batteries, it all makes sense.
You guys coordinate and incentivize. You guys do the legwork there. It's a great community effort, and the goal here is let's get sustainable energy more available. Let's get it more sustainable. The battery idea, I think that is the next step, and it does seem like there's been some big headway made there in the last couple of years.
Definitely big headway on the batteries. I mean, obviously Tesla is the name that comes to mind. AllTerra is one of the only certified Tesla installers of the Tesla Powerwall on the Central Coast. So if anybody out there listening that wants a Tesla Powerwall at their house or business, call us. And the more that Monterey Bay Community Power can provide incentives for people to get those installed, the better for everybody.
Well, let's talk about that. If people are interested, AllTerraSolar.com, nice and easy. You can do that. You can find out the phone number. You can do all that. If people want to find out, I don't even want to say one thing because there's so many programs that you've got on. There's so much that you've covered here. But if people want to find out, hey, let me get more. How do I go about that? What are some of these incentives that you have is the website the best way to go?
Website's the best. It's mbcommunitypower.org, MB for Monterey Bay, and everything starts there. The programs will start rolling out. They'll be huge starting in 2020. We'll have, I think, $22 million to go towards local programs in the Tri-County area. This year, next year is a little more conservative as we build our reserves, and every year, $22 million plus, we can make a huge dent in reducing carbon.
And, of course, Clean Air Fair this Sunday, right?
Clean Air Fair this Sunday.
July 1st.
Custom House Plaza.
Right here. Custom
Right
House.
here.
What is it, 10 to 4?
10 to 4.
10 to 4, come on out.
Live
Hang out.
music.
Live music, yeah.
EV test drives.
We'll
That'd
be
be
there.
fun.
AllTerra will be there.
If you want an energy analysis, see how much you could save with solar in Monterey Community Power, we can model that for you.
Excellent. So you can
come
find out all
down.
that.
Yeah.
And then
One more big announcement. We have a press conference tomorrow morning in Santa Cruz at the Superior Court of California. Bruce McPherson gets to flip the switch for residential launch, and also Mayor Terrazas will proclaim July 1st as Monterey Bay Community Power Day.
Shout out to David Terrazas.
Bravo. That's a big deal. But it also shows to me that's indicative of how this community embraces this. This community wants this to happen. They want it supported. Not only just to save some money, that is a reality, though, but if it starts here and it grows, like you just mentioned, that the coffers are going to grow the next couple of years. The incentives will grow. If you get a community that's supportive about it, it grows. There's a bullseye, and then there's another one, and it grows, and that radius grows. And the next thing you know, if people are doing this all over the country, you get overlap, and that's when you really start to make a difference. So I just want to thank you guys as someone who's very conscious about this, that, hey, we're probably past the point where we needed to start making a change, but it's not too late. So let's do it now, and if we do it collectively, we can really make a difference. So thank you both for what you guys are doing. This is something that's really important. This is a great way for people to be conscious citizens of this planet and also save some money in the process. That's the incentive right there. So, again, give us those websites if people want to find out more.
mbcommunitypower.org.
AllTerraSolar.com. 2 L's, 2 R's.
Perfect.
Clean Air Fair Sunday.
All right,
Clean Air
Fair
Fair
Sunday. All right, let's get you guys back on again here soon. How's that sound?
Thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you guys.
Excellent. That wraps up another Pub Talk brought to you by the Monterey Regional Airport and American Airlines. We do this every Wednesday at 5 o'clock, typically down here at Peter B's Brew Pub. I'd love for you to come down, grab a frosty pint, meet some of your neighbors doing some great things. That's what Pub Talk is all about. Look forward to next Wednesday. You'll be here.
I will.
We'll get
Allegedly.
Kevin back. Allegedly. Yes.
Allegedly.
Looking for allegedly. That's anything to do with Kevin is allegedly. That is just what it is. That wraps up another great edition of Pub Talk, brought to you by the Monterey Regional Airport and American Airlines here on the Locals radio station for the Monterey Bay.
KRML.